Alright, welcome in y'all. We're doing something a little different today. We got some Pokemon Showdown content running Monotype. I'm Monotype Ghost. This is Gen 7, and opponent is Mono Rock. Just hopping right in. I lead the Blade. I ended up building the Blade and Dhelmise specifically for Diancie because I had seen him in round one running a very similar team to this, except instead he was running Corsola over Shuckle. I would have recorded game one for the record, but I didn't have a game one because my opponent just didn't show up. But the Blade and Dhelmise don't do well into the rest of the team because, like, if I pull up Sun and Moon 1v1s, showing the imported sets, Blade versus, let's say, Mega Aerodactyl, UU offensive. It's not carrying Crunch, but say that we're carrying Crunch 40%, so that takes a couple. It actually takes a lot more than I thought it would, but then again, it's a violate the blade, so what am I talking about? But, say my Dhelmise, which I actually don't have a set for this imported, so I'm just gonna grab basic Dhelmise, say Choice Band, and just dice to a Crunch if it's got a little bit of damage on it. And that's with bulk. I don't think I ran mine with nearly as much bulk. But anyway, they power with Diancie, but I get to Ironhead, removing that, which is fantastic for me off the rip because like I have two incredibly Diancie weak Pokemon right here, and they're my big players in my mind. I can just Shadow Sneak, get some chip on Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl takes out the blade. I go Palisand, which actually very interesting set on this. I'm very proud of this. This is supposed to completely wall Mega Aerodactyl, like Adamant Mega Aerodactyl. I don't remember if I have a set imported here. No, I don't. And I think I actually deleted the team, but it was supposed to wall, and it did. It could have done really well with that, but I never really got the opportunity. Here was me trying my best to set up. I didn't want to get locked into something or toxic by Shuckle, so I switched into my Rest Mon, the one Mon that could like remove status. Because then I figured it's probably pretty safe to do this. Because I should have started setting up, because I should have been able to tell they weren't going to run 3 status, 1 infestation, but I honestly thought they were going to run Encore there. So I figure if I press Calm Mind, then I'm stuck. But I should have pressed Calm Mind much earlier. It gets self backs up. I start sleep talking. And go Cradily, which honestly was a surprise because Cradily does rising number to my team. Um, and it's a very good, decently bulky mon too. The big problem in my mind was the Spidef drop, because I probably could have stayed pretty comfortably outside of the range of a few more Earth powers. Uh, I could have stayed out of range of a crit at that rate. And I actually don't think I put too much defensive bulk in here. I probably should have put more. So I switched into Mimikyu instead of risking to see how much Crunch would do, because I didn't know if that was banded or not. Sure. My Mimikyu, by the way, is Scarf, because otherwise, I think Tyranitar might have been max on attack and speed. Uh, so seeing Mimikyu outspeed and absolutely demolish Tyranitar was hilarious to me. Which he didn't actually realize that this thing was Scarf until like game 2 or game 3. Um, so I'm actually not sure. That might have been a bulkier set. Uh, Regardless, I'm pretty comfortable just staying in and spamming Drain Punch against that thing. Then I go Dhelmise, because then I get to lock in the Shuckle with Anchor Shot, and I get to secure the KO. Oh yeah, I'm also rest, so I get to do that pretty comfortably. Oh, wait. Apparently I did build more bulk into Delmas, because I thought it only lived one, but I really unfortunately rolled a sword stance there too. But oh well. Sableye, I've actually got a really interesting set on for the final game. Not final game, for finals. So not this match, because this is round two. This is semifinals. Mimikyu just goes back, does its job, spamming Drain Punch until it eventually dies. They go out into Aerodactyl, which here's the funny thing. I outspeed just by a couple, like 1 or 2 points without sticky webs. So this tells him that I'm not Scarf. Because he would probably think Banded with how I was spamming against Cradily. Um, or maybe he just thought it was my best move, which probably was. But we'll see how that impacts later down the line. Mimikyu goes down. Sableye comes in and it gets a pretty free Prankster Will-O-Wisp. So Aerodactyl is essentially done. It's dead weight at this point. So I get to just spam recover because this is Gen 7, so 16 power point recover. Oh, actually, wait, no, I switched into Spiritomb, which is smarter because I've got Rocky Helmet. So now they're killing themselves while I have an opportunity to wake up and potentially start setting up. Turn two, what do I roll? I just roll another rest. I roll a lot of rests in this match. I can pretty comfortably get a Calm Mind here. Yeah, it's been a little while. The date on this was late February, so I've already forgotten what happens in a chunk of these matches. Uh, I probably should have ran Foul Play over Shadow Ball, considering Tyranitar is sitting right there, and that would have been an obvious thing to run. But I was thinking they might run more special attackers, and that I should be more worried about stuff like Diancie. And then I could chip everything else down with the helmet, which didn't work as planned. uh, Exchange keeps going here, where I just keep resting, staying out of crit range best I can, and just stacking up Calm Minds so I can later down the line handle my Halego. I eventually get tired of it, don't want it to really surpass like 50 turns, so I just get rid of that, land the DG in the chat, and I win with 3 months left, but it's a best of three. So, same day, same time, next match. I figure there's not a world where they lead Diancie, and the blade is the only thing that handles something pretty comfortably, while the Delmise, if it comes in, it gets a KO. So I get a very early lead by locking in Cradily. They go Mega, and for some reason, I just toss out my Blade. I thought with the defense drop, another crunch would just kill me, but I should have pressed Iron Head here because I barely lived, um, which was really unfortunate and set me on the lower hand here. I get rid of their balloon on Nihilego, not that it really matters, because I think I'm carrying. I don't remember what I'm carrying as an attack on Palisand, and I don't think I ever really get to show it. I don't think it's Shadow Ball, specifically because of Tyranitar. Crit there was really unfortunate, so I just have to start spamming this. Um, which I could have Mega Evolved to get the bulk, but in the case that I had to weaken Sableye, in the case that they really weaken Sableye, I wouldn't be able to get another Recover off because of Prankster being replaced with Magic Bounce when it's Mega Evolved. And I really wanted Prankster to burn Aerodactyl again. Like burning that and putting a potential stop to other mons using that. And if I really wanted to burn Aerodactyl, not Aerodactyl, Tyranitar, I could get rid of Prankster as well, so I can kind of pick and choose what I want to be there with Mega Evolution, thankfully. That was kind of my thought with not Mega Evolving and giving myself that extra bulk. Uh, I start Calm Minding here, rest, start going through all that. Now, here's the thing. I was really hoping I would land a Shadow Ball there, because Aerodactyl would have been a really obvious switch, right? Um, Not that Tyranitar would have been a bad switch either, because not like Spiritomb would have been able to do anything to it. The Aerodactyl, when it's not burned, is naturally a threat. But they roosted for some reason, so I just get to wake up and spam Shadow Ball. Now here's the thing. Okay, I remember this part. Spiritomb loses 33% at +2, and I should have realized this. 1 in 16 to crit, and I would die to a crit there, and I did. So while Spiritomb um, could have absolutely made a pretty sizable dent in this game, it didn't really do that much because I got kind of screwed over by a crit, which was unfortunate, but not impossible to work around, right? So where I probably should have switched in my Delmise, I'm realizing I switched in Mimikyu. Because if it came in there, it would have got a KO on something. Because, like, what does Diancie normally carry? Like, if I were to switch this to random battles just to get, like, a gauge on what Diancie would be carrying here. Diamond Storm, Earth Power, Moonblast, Toxic, Heal Bell, which I don't think it's running any of those. Uh, there was no reason for me to switch to Mimikyu here. And breaking the disguise and doing that was kind of a throw on my part. Delmise is something I absolutely should have used earlier, but I didn't, and that was a mistake. I was really overestimating Palossand's capabilities and special defense here. I was really hoping that I would be able to live, uh, but it did not go that well. Uh, so unfortunately, I'm left to Mega Evolving and just spamming Recover, hoping for the best, hoping for a screw up. I did get rid of Nihilego, stalling out with a burn, but I can't KO. I can't KO Diancie there with a low kick. So that leaves me to losing. But then again, they have webs up once again, so they don't know that my Mimikyu is scarfed. Uh, so third game, same teams. We were allowed to change teams in between, but I don't think either of us really did. I meant to add more Fizz-Def to Spiritomb in between, but I forgot to. Uh, the blade comes in, and surprisingly, Tyranitar lives. So actually, that's probably max HP, max defense, if I had to guess. Because the blade was max HP, max attack. I ended up Swords Dancing there, but Shadow Sneak KOs just barely on Tyranitar from there. I don't know why they swapped into Shuckle there. That was absolutely a throw on their part, because that stops them from setting up webs, which was absolutely a saving grace. I do around 50 to Aerodactyl. Sandstorm is gone. I get Sableye here, which threaten burning them. I get to burn the Cradily. Diancie isn't gone yet, but I still feel fairly comfortable going to Delmise here, because again, Delmise comes in, it gets a KO. Aerodactyl switches in, which I need to preserve Delmise for Diancie at this point, so I switch that out for Spiritomb to get some Rocky Helmet chip on the already fairly low arrow. Uh, they sack Tyranitar, which doesn't really go over that well for them. I get one Calm Mind, which I saw what happened last time they were doing 33. I should have switched out there. Absolutely. I don't know why I didn't. I guess because I lacked a good switch in, because two Moonblasts could have potentially KO'd Delmise. So I sack Spiritomb, bring in Delmise, they sack Tyranitar, they go Aerodactyl, and here's the best part. Here's the best part in my mind. I get to pretty freely Woodhammer on them. They Ice Fang for some reason over Crunch, when Crunch probably would have been better. Maybe they were hoping for a flinch. But me being faster is so good for me because look at that. That cleans up from here. I can absolutely clean up from here. Woodhammer really severely weakens Nihilego, but knocks out my Mimikyu in the process. But now that frees up my Sableye, I get to Mega Evolve because they don't have a good chance to weaken me, and I just get to burn it. I get to weaken it. Diancie comes in, of course. I go ahead and sack my Palossand. Which actually, a funny moment here. I thought their Diancie was faster. I thought it was more like an offensive Diancie. So I set up a rock polish in front of it, wondering, hey, what happens here if they have like slightly lower speed than expected on Aerodactyl, which I think they were actually. Hold on, here's a great question. I'm realizing I have this on random battle still. Well, and if I go OU offensive, yeah, Jolly is 438, and then if I run, I remember I brought Mimikyu to the finals match. Yeah, 480. Which I don't think they were running Jolly to begin with. I think they were running Adamant um, with some of the damage they were doing. But regardless, Delmise either gets KO'd and Sableye wins, or they try to recover and Delmise wins. So that brought me to the end of match two. Wait, no, sorry, not match two. That was the end of round two. And this is finals. As you can see, I've got a little bit of a disadvantage here because it's Ghost versus Dark. And, well, if I bring up Pokemon Showdown here, I go to Generation 7 Monotype, I type in Ghost. There aren't a lot of great options. So go against Dark. Like, you see Blacephalon, you see Chandelure, you see Frostlass, Gengar, Mega Bayonet, Hoopa, Marowak, uh, Decidueye, Dhelmise, Mismagius. Like, not a ton of bulky mons, right? Like, I see Jellicent. But what does Jellicent do against this, right? Um, though I probably could have run a I could have run Jellicent, and I think I did consider running a Jellicent in one of the matches, but I didn't. But hopping right in, the blade was specifically there to handle Umbreon because he'd brought in Umbreon in one of his past matches, and I was like, what on my team here? Like, what on this roster beats Umbreon? Not a lot, right? Because that is like the king of special defense mons, and there aren't a lot of ghost types that get physical moves that go against that very well. Like there's Mimikyu, but what does Mimikyu do to Umbreon with Play Rough? 50%. So they can take a hit if they've already broken my disguise and do around 60% back with Foul Play, which wasn't worth the trade. So Blade does roughly 50% with Sacred Sword. I live two foul plays, and I also gave the blade toxic specifically for that, so Umbreon couldn't stay long term, so it couldn't stall anything out, and I don't get toxic back. Because I had considered briefly, okay, what if Mega Sableye answers Umbreon? But then I realized, wait a minute, I actually had to go test this. I pulled up 2 times of Pokemon Showdown for this. Mega Sableye with Magic Bounce, if it bounces back toxic, then Synchronize still goes into effect, and Mega Sableye gets toxic, which, looking at this team, I don't love that, because it's the only proper, like, quote-unquote, resist I have to any of their mons here. Like, what stops them otherwise from spamming Dark Pulse with Greninja, Crunch with Mega Sharpedo, Darkest Lariat with Incineroar? Like, what really stops them, right? And Sableye is the best bet to just sit there and stall. So my thought was, okay, I get Umbreon off the field with the blade, and then Sableye opens up. And actually, strangely enough, if Umbreon were carrying Yawn, the same effect happens with Mega Sableye. It'll bounce back the Yawn, but when Umbreon falls asleep, Sableye falls asleep too. So they KO my Blade, but Umbreon is now pretty significantly weakened because it's toxic and sitting at around 50%. So that invites Spiritomb to come in and start setting up. Sucker Punch was not what I expected to see here, for the record. Uh, I was carrying Hidden Power Fighting as my attack here. It's pretty much the same set, the only difference is Hidden Power instead of Shadow Ball. I get rid of the Toxic fairly early as they get KO'd. They go Sharpedo, uh, Rocky Helmet procs. I was really hoping to land a Hidden Power here, because now if they Mega Evolve with Strong Jaw, they just KO Spiritomb. I go ahead and decide to sack my Frostlass here and hope for a Cursed Body proc, but I didn't end up getting it, unfortunately. So, with Prankster, since this is Gen 7, it doesn't affect Dark types, but I still thought Sableye was my best thing to bring, because my other solution for a Mega was Mega Bayonet, and that had no longevity. Like, that was gonna come in and die before anything could happen. So, I still did bring it with Will-O-Wisp, which thankfully landed there. I was very much so carried through luck in some of these matches, and I'm very appreciative that a lot of these Will-O-Wisps hit, because otherwise I would have been completely screwed over from the start. Because now I just get to sit in front of this, and I brought Power Up Punch, because I was thinking, you know what? I don't think Low Kick or Low Sweep is going to do enough. But if I start racking up power here, then I might be fine. Um, but then my problem is special attackers, because then I start lacking longevity um, in special defense, because I can handle physical attackers with a burn. Crit's a little nasty there, as is the defense drop, because that encourages me to switch out sooner rather than later. I can stall them out with recovers here, and let them die to a burn instead, because I'm still recovering a little bit more damage than they're doing, and I get to just barely go up to 100% um, by the time they were KO'd. And you can tell Lam was very entertained by that idea of 9 turns of me stalling out with power up punch and recovers. They go instant uh, because Z move just ruins everything. Which they do have. I thought they were about to reveal it there, but uh, Last Fallen comes in with Hidden Power Ground. Very frustratingly, they didn't have Hidden Power Fighting available for Blacephalon because it's a Gen 7 legendary, so it can't have low enough IVs to have Hidden Power Fighting, which is very frustrating. But then I realized, wait a minute, they could bring Incin, they could bring Skuntank. What if I just Hidden Power Ground instead to hit those? Which he very unnecessarily presses Z move on Blacephalon. Um, Mimikyu with Drain Punch there. Still Scarf, by the way, exact same set as before. They go into Kroko. I try to land a Wisp and I miss. Tries to Dragon Tail me out, which is very surprising. But I get the Wisp, go into Mimikyu. I play rough. They get to break my disguise, but that's fine. Uh, and I just get to click play rough and win, which it should have dawned on him here that I was Scarf, but I don't think he noticed either. Uh, Falcon didn't notice immediately either. But Mimikyu was my saving grace in this fight as a fairy type. Cleaned up three of the biggest threats on the field, aside from Umbreon. There's Team Builder. Okay, second match. I lead this time with Frostlass because I wanted to get up my spikes or to potentially Will-O-Wisp something if they led with something that could be Wisp, but no, they just they just went Incineroar immediately. I pressed Destiny Bond, and of course that's very predictable, even though I didn't show it in the previous match. So they just Will-O-Wisped me, which I think was a very funny way to handle that. Um, I could have set up another spike because that could have done a number on their team, but then they got rid of Spiritomb, which actually I didn't realize that Z moves made contact like that, which was a little goofy. I should have pressed Play Rough here, but I pressed Drain Punch for some reason. The crit was nasty there. Just hold on, let me bring in Sableye versus Crocodile. Let's say it was Scarf, it isn't, but I'm probably gonna change that to Choice Band, because I think that was what it was. Um, I think it does around the same range, yeah, even when Mega. So it would have KO'd me either way, but it was a little unfortunate. I should have probably uh, sacked the blade and then gone Blessed Fallen and just pressed Mind Blown twice. Because I was once again scarfed on this. Yeah, Toxic that, and I accepted that with the crit on Sableye, there was absolutely no way that I was going to win game two. Um, I tried to play around getting Mimikyu Toxic on the off chance there was a play rough endgame, which wasn't happening. There was no world where it was happening, but that's not for the sake of not trying, which it actually got close. Uh, if I didn't have the attack drop from Incin, I might have had it. Now, for final game of the finals of this tournament, so fighting for champion, uh, and getting the Wisp on Sharpedo immediately, which is great. Uh, Snake Punch again, get the defense drop, which is a little unfortunate. I go into Frostlass, which even with through the burn brings me down to Sash, which is very funny. Um, Instead of just KOing me like they should have, they switched into Umbreon, which was interesting. So I just start setting up spikes. They Toxic predicting the Destiny Bond. I go to Blade. I didn't get my Toxic off because I was frankly thinking he would switch into something else, like Sharpedo, since that was already status. Uh, I honestly thought Sharpedo would do less, but after the display of what it was doing to Frostlass, as frail as that is, I probably should have just pressed rest immediately. Uh, but I still got some of that, and I predicted their Z move here because I knew they wanted to get rid of Spiritomb because that was an annoyance to their team. So I let Mimikyu absorb it with its disguise. Switched into Sableye. Didn't predict the Wisp, I just figured Sableye would take the hit, which it did. It took it pretty well. I power up punch into recover if I recall. It still does a lot. Which actually I can't help but assume that that's not not banded, not banded, because judging by this, if it were a normal Sableye, that would kill as a crit. There's no world where that wouldn't kill, since Sableye does get additional bulk on Mega Evolution. So I can't help but assume that it was some other item. Spiritomb comes in. This is the mon they really want to get rid of, so just attacking it in exchange for Kroko. Uh, Switching Greninja, special attacker, so better suited to get rid of it, so it doesn't suffer Rocky Helmet shit. Lacifalon, wishes also Scarfed, takes out Greninja, so rather than pressing Mind Blown, um, which I probably should have pressed Mind Blown, but I didn't. Sucker Punch doesn't take me out. I almost take out Umbreon there. I go Mimikyu because at this point, that is definitely a Mimikyu endgame. I wasn't sure if they were Scarf or not, so I was switching to Blade to sack it to see if that was Scarf or not. Because I was very scared of a potential Scarf on that, but it was revealed that it was Life Orb. I pressed Drain Punch for some reason over Play Rough, I guess because I didn't want it to miss. So I just spammed Drain Punch into Mind Blown and got the win, with Sableye being the last man standing. Mimikyu was absolutely the MVP here, and it was great that I didn't miss very many moves at all. Like I missed one or two Will-O-Wisps, um, but I didn't miss any Toxics. I didn't miss any Play Roughs, except for maybe one. I think I might have missed one Play Rough. I wasn't paying too much attention to what was landing, what wasn't. More of my thought process behind each move. Insert me forgetting it's a best of five. And now on to the fourth match. Just kidding. I forgot there was a fourth match. So, here's the final match. uh, okay, so I lead Sableye, and he just instantly tries to nuke with my Malicious Moonsault, and I figured just to recover that off, because there was no real better answer, because I thought I wasn't going to switch into Mimikyu, because I didn't think he would do it twice. Uh, Power Up Punch and Umbreon. I go hard to Blade, because I know I live too, unless it crits. So I just get pretty easy Toxic off. Oh wait, I didn't get Toxic off. I pressed Sacred Sword. That's wild. I guess I again predicted a switch and I was wrong. But now I know Blastophallon can also do a number and do it. Uh, and here's where Mimikyu starts its absolute murder fest. It gets rid of Crocodile. They go Greninja. I was thinking about scouting Water Shuriken, and then I figured, you know what, I probably live it anyway. So I just play rough again. I see that I don't do enough damage, so I just go hard Sableye, because I figure, okay, this is probably better suited. And I forgot, this is where I actually show off the very weird set here. I get a recover off, and then, okay, so we know three of my moves so far. I got recover, power up punch, and Will-O-Wisp. You won't guess what the fourth move is. Calm Mind, because I was left very specially weak otherwise. Uh, so I figured this covered that end. So while I wasn't carrying a special attack, it let me just sit in and take Water Shurikens in this case, and it would let me sit in and take Dark Pulses too. Um, they go Instant here. Darkest Lariat, so I can't just stay and sit against this, unfortunately. So I just weakened it, despite the fact that I probably should have recovered there. That's kind of a brain fart on my part. Like, I just genuinely blanked out there. just because I was that nervous. But Hidden Power Ground weakened that pretty sufficiently. And Mimikyu at this point with Incineroar weakened just gets to start pressing play rough. Because that KOs even from max defense, max HP, last I checked. Like if I were to bring out Mimikyu versus Umbreon, let's say, are you Cleric? 0, and then 252. Just about. It doesn't quite. So that tells me probably wasn't max defense. There might have been a different spread where it was more even between defense and spread. Yeah, Mimikyu just lands every single play rough here, and it is incredibly nice. They try to protect to outspeed, but since I'm Scarf, after one they don't outspeed. Except when they're Mega, but Mega speed changes don't quite happen immediately. But they do get the KO since I missed like the one play rough. Um, but from here, I'm safe to press Will-O-Wisp. Because I mean, I was never KOing with Frostlass. I had an ice move here. I think it was Ice Beam. They're trying to stall off Disable and play around Destiny Bound. But at that point, they just give in because they realize that they're faster now. Um, so if they didn't play for the speed boost, they could have actually lived the Destiny Bond, but they wouldn't have made it all the way to killing Spiritomb. Spiritomb would have won in the end. But yeah, no, that's the real ending. Uh, so thank you guys again. See you guys next time for the draft league whenever that comes up, which I think maybe in like a week or two. So I'll see you guys then. Bye.